When discussing dating, it's easy to focus on looks, money, and status, thinking that's all it takes to get women, and in some cases it may be. But more commonly, the deciding factor comes down to your behavior and the way you express yourself. And if your game isn't right in those departments, it's gonna be an uphill battle to say the least. So in this video, I wanna talk about 7 crucial things that you should never do when talking to a girl that you like, so you can avoid some of the common mistakes that I see guys making. Number 1, never speak too fast or with the wrong tone of voice. A common issue I see with guys when trying to appeal to a girl that they like is trying to be more expressive and fun or more charismatic in general. Now, this isn't the worst idea in the world, because if you're a boring robot, that definitely isn't going to get the girl either. But on the flip side, what happens sometimes is that guys get too enthusiastic and it comes off in a fake or plastic way, which is a problem in itself. But what also typically happens is that you will find yourself talking too fast and high pitched. I've noticed in social settings that guys that are excited about a girl are typically talking too fast without even noticing it. So it's a good rule of thumb to dial back the speed of your speech by about 10 to 20% and slow things down just a little bit. Another tip is to pause before you answer a question or reply, and Alex Hormozy is great at this if you listen to podcasts where he is being interviewed. He gives a slight pause and sometimes longer before answering, which gives the impression of thoughtfulness and being relaxed. Now, voice tonality is equally as important as your talking speed, and our tone of voice tends to go up when speaking faster. You want to make sure that you are breathing and speaking from your diaphragm to emphasize a lower and deeper tone rather than out of your throat in a higher tone. For instance, this is me saying this sentence out of my throat in a higher tone versus speaking lower out of my diaphragm in a lower tone of voice, which makes my voice deeper. Your lower tonality is going to be more attractive and project more confidence, so slow your speech down and activate that deeper tone within reason. Don't talk like some weird robotic drone trying to make yourself sound manly. You just want to avoid the higher end of your tonality spectrum. Another thing about this is that when you speak in a lower tone and out of your diaphragm, you will naturally slow your speech down, and it's actually very difficult to speak in a lower, deeper tone and talk fast at the same time. Number 2, never try to score points with her. If you listen to the way guys talk about women, there's usually an undertone of wanting to win the girl over or score points with her so that she likes them. Guys get caught in this mode of trying to qualify themselves to the girl with hopes of her liking him and approving, instead of evaluating the girl and seeing if they even like the girl. It creates this needy dynamic where you as the guy are the one interviewing for the job and she's the hiring manager, when in reality, the more powerful stance is to be the one conducting the interview and looking for a qualified employee. Qualifying yourself also leads to talking too much and comes off needy in the sense that you will find yourself bragging about certain things or trying to be interesting in hopes of building attraction. This is always a losing angle though, because you give off a different energy when you are trying too hard to win someone over versus being nonchalant about the outcome. You can simultaneously want to succeed and pull a woman while also remaining indifferent about the outcome. The frame of mind to have is that I'm going to put in the effort to get this girl, but not too much where I compromise myself, and if it doesn't work out, that's fine and there are more fish in the sea. Remember that if she feels like you are trying to impress her or gain validation at any point, she will lose attraction. On the other hand, if she feels you are simply expressing yourself to share an experience or that you're a cool guy, then you're in a good position. The best way to implement this mindset is by putting a stop to trying to impress her or score points with her, and instead approach the situation in a way where you are evaluating her to see if she's even worth having around to begin with. Number 3, never be too reactive to her stories. Now, branching off that last point about evaluating her, you can't make an accurate evaluation of a girl if you are too reactive to the things she tells you. The reason for this is because if you act shocked or taken back by certain things that she says, you'll be giving off an impression of being judgmental and inexperienced. You want to do the opposite and appear non-judgmental and assume a position that you've seen it all, because this will allow her to open up more freely and feel more comfortable around you. None of us want to hang out with some judgmental weirdo that we have to walk on eggshells around, and women are no different. And look, the more non-judgmental you appear, the more she will reveal about herself, and the more accurate you can be with your vetting process in deciding if this girl is even a good match for you or not. And if she is a good match, well, you've also done a good job at creating a relaxed vibe about you that is attractive through this concept. Either way, you don't want to create a walking on eggshells type of environment or give off a vibe that you are inexperienced and unable to handle the things that she tells you. It's a quick way to be perceived as overly emotional and unattractive. Number 4, never fall for the thirst trap. Look, I get it. If a girl is looking ultra bad, it can be tough to not let your eyes wander. She knows this too, which is why she's presenting herself that way. However, it's better to act like the thirst trap doesn't even exist. What I mean by this is if a girl has a more revealing outfit on, such as a low-cut shirt or a tight dress, it's best to keep eye contact and not get caught staring at any one body part. The reason for this is that it gives off the impression that this is normal for you. It's just another day at the office for you with a beautiful woman. You aren't thirsty or desperate. When you get caught glancing multiple times at a girl's cleavage or something, she knows that you're thirsty and that she has some degree of power over you. Now, I'm not saying that you can't acknowledge her appearance or show intent, because you should be showing some kind of intent and escalating the interaction so it doesn't come off like a friend zone type of thing. But it's important to assume the position of having been here before. Women are attracted to guys that are more natural with their behavior and who aren't easily impressed, because being impressed easily implies desperation and being thirsty. It's always better to assume the position of not being too eager, because it will help you to look smooth. So by being the guy that acts as if the thirst trap doesn't even exist, you separate yourself from all the guys that can't control their sexual impulses and openly drool over her. There's a fine balance between acknowledging a woman's effort to win you over and letting her know you find her attractive, and not going overboard into the realm of being labeled a creep or desperate. This applies to social media too. Don't be the dude going around liking girls' thirst traps and sending heart eye emojis. That's just embarrassing. Number 5, never pour your feelings out first. There was an interesting psychology study a while back that found that women were most attracted to guys whose feelings for them were unclear. In other words, women were most attracted to guys when they weren't sure if the guy liked them or not. Now, some guys have run away with this study and reference it like you should never show any obvious interest at all, but that's the wrong way to go about it. As I said previously, you do have to show some intent, and it has to be man to woman intent to show that you're looking to be more than just friends. The key point here though is to be slow to express how you feel about a girl, even if you like her a lot. It's always better if she's the first one to express her feelings, and not because you're playing games or being manipulative, but because it allows her to not feel smothered and work out her feelings at her own pace. Think about it. The way you put a fire out is by smothering it, and expressing your feelings too soon is the equivalent of smothering a fire. It can quickly kill attraction because it is too much too soon, and you haven't allowed her to develop those feelings on her own. In order to create attraction, you have to create space to allow it to develop. Now, I do jiu-jitsu and I like MMA, so I tend to reference the fighting analogies a lot. So with that in mind, attraction is like a fight. You can't just stay clinched up with a guy hoping to knock him out. You have to separate and create distance to allow the space for the knockout punch to happen. It's the same thing with attraction in the sense that if you don't give her space to feel and process things, she's going to be turned off by you and pushed away. Also, as the woman, she's more emotional than you by default, so by assuming this emotional stance before her, you are taking on more of a feminine role than she is. And if she's a feminine woman herself, those two polarities are going to clash and not work the way you want them to. That isn't to say that you can never express any emotion at all. There's just a time and a place for that as a man, and it's definitely not early on when you're still getting to know each other. Number 6, never smile too much. Now, I'll be the first to say that smiling is important, and guys need to smile more on average. It helps kill a lot of that stoic, creepy look that guys can give off when mugging a girl or a guy across the room. Smiling creates a friendly, inviting vibe that can be good to break the ice and make you seem more approachable, or help someone to open up during a conversation. However, with that said, you can also overdo it, and you want to think about smirking and showing amusement more than you do grinning or having some big goofy smile. If you look at male models, you'll notice they have this type of look a lot even when they're smiling in photos, because it tends to be more attractive and mysterious. They tend to smile without showing their teeth with a big grin and show playful expressions in a more nonchalant way. There's a higher sex appeal to these types of expressions versus smiling like it's your high school yearbook photo. So the take-home point here is to implement some smiling and laughing, but keep it within reason. You want to be fun, but you don't want to come off as goofy. Think more James Bond and David Beckham. And mind you, this is coming from someone who likes to laugh and joke around, but again, there's a way to express that without looking like a goofy circus clown. Number 7, never be too agreeable. Taking it back to an earlier point about trying to score points with a girl, I've noticed a lot of guys will implement a strategy of being very agreeable with a girl no matter what subject comes up. And on paper, it might make sense, right? If we agree on lots of things, we are likely a good match and she'll like me for it. But that's not how things play out in the game of attraction. Attractive women are used to guys sucking up to them, showering them with compliments, and being overly agreeable. So all of those guys tend tend to blend together and be labeled as boring. What is actually interesting is a man who naturally has his own opinions and principles that he sticks to. The reason this is interesting to a woman is because it's a display of strength, individuality, and fearlessness. And again, I'm not saying to be a dick about it, but having your own opinion on things and respectfully disagreeing with a woman is almost always a net positive, because it shows that you're not afraid of disagreeing with her and you will stand by what you believe. Some of your opinions may even irritate her a little bit, but that's fine, because the more you stay true to yourself, the better off you will be. And flaring a little bit of emotion in her can be a good thing in many cases. You need to have both yin and yang to create attraction, so it can't be all happy-go-lucky agreeable energy, or else there won't be any tension created. There has to be a balance of push and pull. She has to feel the essence of your masculinity and individuality on some level to respect you, and respect is the foundation of attraction with women. The take-home point here is that you should never agree to just agree, and that you can be polarizing in a respectful way. You don't have to be a dirtbag or loud to get the point across that you have differing opinions and principles that you believe in. It also creates more attraction in her by not being her little puppy that just molds to whatever she says. She wants a man with backbone at the end of the day, not a boy that she has to teach. But look, this stuff only matters if you have women around that you like to start with. So if you don't have that and you need help with that step, then make sure you watch this video next. And also check out the links in the description, and I will see you in the next one.